What's going on, my fellow Kino Lords? Got Eric up here in the front with that badass Houseu shirt.
Yep, that Perry gave me, actually.
Perry in the back with... What shirt you got on back there?
Poppy.
Oh, Poppy. A Poppy shirt.
We went to a Poppy concert yesterday.
Anyway, we went to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is a pretty big movie. A lot of people are talking about it. At least a lot of film lovers are really talking about it. This is a film that, I'm going to be honest, just like me personally, I know that Eric and Perry from the trailer, they were really digging it. Me personally, I thought, like, okay, this could be good, but it could be kind of flat, kind of, you know, it could be a fun movie, but I didn't think I was going to be really that huge on it, just from the trailer alone at least. But it gave me hope because, one, it's from A24, but also besides that, it's from the Daniels, who both wrote and directed Swiss Army Man. Daniel Scheinert, I believe, I don't know if he wrote and directed The Death of Dick Long, but I know that he directed it. But those are all movies
Which is a great film.
Yeah,
just
dude,
to get out of the way, I really
The Death
like
of Dick
that
Long,
film.
it doesn't get nearly enough love. Like, it's to me personally, I thought it was a great film. But anyway, coming out of Everything Everywhere All at Once, I gotta say that I thought this film was lovely. This is a fantastic piece of filmmaking. I mean, I definitely got more out of it than I expected. I mean, it's kind of difficult to know where to begin, but this is an incredibly chaotic and a very energetic film. It's very animated, kind of like in the same vein as something like Scott Pilgrim, but like this is a very out there and creative and overall wonderfully crafted film. And it's hard to wrap my mind around because this is not a film that I think I would even be able to make. Just me personally, like, it's so chaotic and so everywhere that, like, it would be difficult for me to even create something that even feels like organized. But somehow they were able to kind of harness all that chaotic energy and create something that does feel like it's fluid, something that does flow, and something that I could follow without being, like, you know, too convoluted. And that's really impressive for a film with this kind of concept. I mean, it's also incredibly emotional and moving. It's really existential in some moments. I mean, there's moments that, you know, actually got tears out of me. Like, it's quite an emotional watch at some parts. And it's just like so much craft went into this film that it's really hard to not appreciate. I mean, even if, like, you weren't even huge on this movie, you have to give this film its props when it comes to all the set pieces and, like, all the editing and just, like, the production and vision overall is just, like, very, very impressive stuff. But luckily, this one was also really well written. A lot of the emotion is captured well. It's very layered. Yeah, this one was just incredible. Like, just a really, really great watch. I think I've said enough. I kind of got really excited about it, but yeah, I really love this film. This film is lovely. You can go ahead, Eric.
So yeah, I'm gonna bounce right off and say that I fucking thought this movie was brilliant. I loved it. On a technical level, it's so impressive. I think about all these, like, little moments that in the movie that you feel like a lot of dedication was put into, like, maybe a frame, maybe to, like, a couple seconds dedicated to this one, like, universe. It's like, on a technical level, it's so impressive, and on an emotional level, like, it's both a really fun, funny, and emotional ride, like Carlos has said. It made me, Carlos, and Perry cry. I definitely heard Perry tearing up next to me. Funny too. I'm glad he said funny because this movie is really fucking hilarious. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, not only just, like, outrageous, like, shit going on, which there's plenty of that, which I love. There's just a lot of really great, like, line deliveries and just, yeah, it's hard to even talk about, like, one single thing. It's got so much to offer. Before we started this video, we were talking about the editing. I think the editing is fucking immaculate. Like, I was watching this and I was like, nothing is gonna top this in editing for the year. Like, nothing. It's just not even gonna get close.
Yeah, because everything, like, from, like, the transitions and, like, just even, like, the special effects transition moments, I mean, and the sound editing as well. Mm-hmm. Like, all of, like, the editing is very delicate throughout its entire film. Very,
yeah, precise and just imaginative. This movie is incredibly imaginative and creative. I really I'd say like the movies that I personally value like the most. I'm not saying it inherently makes the film better. I value like creativity and unorthodox ways of telling stories. Those to me are like my favorite kind of movies.
I can see that.
And that's a huge reason why I personally love this movie a fuck ton. But I've gone on long enough. Perry, you go.
Time for a taste of Perry.
Make sure to speak up too, because you're in the back. Sometimes it's hard to hear you.
Okay, so I've actually saw this film at an early screening thanks to my good friend Jeremy, who was nice enough to invite me along. And I have to be honest, the first time I watched this movie, I didn't connect with it. But the more I thought about the movie, the more I appreciate it. And after seeing it again, I can honestly say I really love this film.
It's awesome.
And I mean, obviously we're still early on in the year, like The Northman hasn't even come out, Vortex hasn't even come out. But out of the 10 films I've seen so far this year, I can say that this is hands down the best film I've seen so far. Which is not saying a lot because I haven't seen that many movies this year.
And The Northman's coming at the end of the month.
Yeah.
We'll see how that shakes out.
I'm gonna be saying a different story in like 2 weeks.
Probably.
But yeah, like you said, the editing's brilliant. The acting across the board is fantastic. I believe the main actress name is Sandra Yo.
I think you said Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh, excuse me, thank you.
Yeah.
She did a phenomenal job. I haven't seen more of her films, but I hear people are saying that this is her like career best performance. And I can't add to that because I haven't seen too much in her filmography. One thing that I really loved about this movie is it's a movie for movie lovers.
Yeah. There's
so many and it's not just like reference humor, like, oh, it's funny because I recognize that and they're satirizing that.
Mm-hmm.
It actually it actually weaves homages to other films into the movie, and it actually fits the narrative considering it's a multiverse movie.
The Wong Kar-wai references.
Yes.
My God.
Oh my God, they were so great.
I did not expect that going into this film. Like, you know, at first when I saw like the low frame rate kind of style, like in a few scenes, I was like, okay, that definitely that's very reminiscent of the Wong Kar-wai style. But I was like, I don't know, I might be reaching. And then there's literally like an entire homage for the film In the Mood for Love, and it's like beautifully done. Like, it's really like in terms of the color grading and the framing, like it's all clearly a very delicately done homage. And it actually, like Perry said, it weaves these it kind of weaves the kind of referential material in a way that is actually substantive to the film. It doesn't feel like it's just there to, you know, just to be like a throwaway reference or something.
It's
like
purposeful.
That.
Yeah. And the film is obviously heavily inspired by The Matrix, and there's even like a recreation of a scene from The Matrix in the movie. I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but obviously it's heavily inspired by The Matrix, and I don't know if y'all would agree with that.
I mean, I can see where the comparison is.
Inspired by The Matrix? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
Absolutely.
It definitely takes a lot of inspiration from The Matrix.
Yeah.
I would also say Inception inspired.
I thought
I can
about
see that
Inception too.
Was an inspiration on this film as well. I think the really cool thing about the multiverses is I like how you made that comparison to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, because a lot of the fight choreography reminded me of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I think that's an apt description. I guess if there was like one complaint I had with the movie, is I do think that some of the gags in the movie, they cut back to certain gags a little bit too much, and they're not as funny the second, third time around. But what's interesting is I think this film, even though I have that criticism, I think this film gets better upon rewatch, because the jokes that I thought were funny the first time around, like knowing that they were coming, like I even found them, you know, even funnier. And it's crazy all the small details I picked up on that the film has like payoffs in later. Even just seeing like a character on the sidewalk spinning dressed like a pizza, spinning one of those arrow signs. Like,
oh, that scene was awesome.
the way that's like reincorporated later, like everything has a payoff, you know.
Yep.
Even the smallest things get reincorporated later down in the film.
I want to add to the like the influences to the style or whatever, because I noticed that there were certain fight scenes that really reminded me of Chinese action movies.
Yeah,
like I really got I mean, I haven't seen too many, but when I have seen is Police Story, and I was like, wow, if these fight scenes feel reminiscent in a way that I think was intended to, like, stylistically do
Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah, exactly. Which was really awesome to see. I love that that they had so many, like, inspirations from Chinese cinema. I think that's super cool. It's really unique.
Which plays back to Wong Kar-wai, because in a lot of ways, like stylistically, his film fits in, you know, with Hong Kong cinema. The only difference between him and the action movies is he makes movies about, you know, people falling out of love. Yeah. He makes romantic dramas as opposed to, you know, action movies.
Yeah, in terms of, like, this is not even like really a criticism, just like a note, but like this film, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little bit to actually get into it.
Yeah.
Because like at first I was like maybe like the first 5 or 10 minutes I was like, okay, this is they're obviously trying to establish its kind of fast-paced nature, and it felt a little bit cartoony, and it was kind of hard for me to really, like, you know, feel invested into these characters as real people. But then, like, once it gets going, like, you just really, really buy into this film style.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, that's not even a thought after that point. It's just, like, you're so, like, invested into this film's world and its atmosphere and its characters, you know, I think the fast-paced energy and, like, its kind of cartoony style really start building well, and it all starts coming together. And, like, especially, like, when the humor starts kicking in more, it feels more natural, and it feels just, like, a really fun watch. And overall, like, I think Eric pointed out, like, it's a really fun movie, and that's kind of what I thought I was gonna get. Was like, okay, this is gonna be just like a fun movie, but it's really more than that. Like, it's incredibly well crafted, and it's substantive. Like, it's actually pretty damn substantive in my opinion. And you know, overall, like, it's, in terms of, like, its style, it's just, I really appreciate the fact that this film was able to accomplish something that, you know, it's action-packed, it's funny as hell, it's romantic, it's you know, dramatic and sad. It's able to accomplish so much. Like, the title also kind of also encompasses the kind of, like, you know, style and, like, themes that this film's going for. It just has so many genres blended into it as well, and it makes something that is really unique. And I personally had a blast with this film. Anybody else want to say any more things about it?
I'm glad you brought that up about the first act, because that was another problem I had the first time I watched it. Is like, wow, this film takes a while to get going. But honestly, the pacing, like, that's another thing that improved upon rewatch, was the pacing. This film, like, flowed, like, so much better upon rewatch.
Yeah, that's another thing. This movie's, like, technically is pretty long. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, but I swear to God, it flies the fuck by. Like, there's been movies that I've seen that are the same length, and I feel every ounce of its time, but this film did not feel like that. It just fucking flew by.
Yeah, I think this movie is just a genuinely, like, actually beautiful movie. It's both insane and chaotic, but yeah, it's simultaneously, like, meaningful and low-key existential.
Yeah, but what's funny is when it does become existential, the characters don't start talking like philosophy majors. They still sound like real people. Like, the dialogue still feels natural and believable.
Exactly. I'm completely with you.
But yeah, I mean, I'm personally ready to give ratings. I've said everything I wanted to say, but I'm kind of giving the floor to you guys. So if you guys
don't want to say too much about this movie, because it's like, it's one of those movies you want to go in knowing as little as possible.
The last thing I'll say, it's funny, I feel like I developed mommy issues because the movie last night I watched, Turning Red, the new Pixar movie. A big component of that movie is also a troubling relationship between the mother and daughter dynamic.
Really?
Yeah, so both films have a heavy emphasis on that, which I loved. Obviously, this film is better, but just by the way, I really liked Turning Red.
Okay.
I thought it was a great movie.
I'll probably never watch it.
That's sad.
I might watch it one day.
It's better than Soul, It's better than Coco. It's
Soul. That's a.
Yeah, it's better than Soul.
I think I'm just done with Pixar movies in general, if I'm being honest.
The only reason why I'm sorry, dude, was just like the whole like, you know, character turning into an animal. Like, I'm just like,
it's purposeful though. It's not just like, oh my god, it's so wacky.
I know, but it's just like, can we not do? Like, is it so hard to just not do this for the millionth time?
I feel you.
Though?
That's why I didn't want to watch it initially, but then I don't know. I heard a lot of great things
I'm sure it does it well, but it's like, we have enough money and resources to make more original material in this. Like, can we like make something a little bit more fresh than that? But
she turns into the cat from How Soon.
Oh yeah, that's kind of another reason why I wore this. Because the posters look so similar.
That's funny.
But anyway, sorry for going off track.
All right. I love this film to death. I think it's fantastic. I'll give it a soft 9 out of 10.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit I'm gonna give it a strong 9 out of 10.
Ooh.
I think maybe on rewatch it could go up to a 10. I was thinking about it, but I'll reserve and say strong 9.
Damn.
Yeah, I love this film.
I don't blame you.
Because I was hooked initially. I was hooked from the beginning. It didn't really take me a while. I love the pacing of this film, personally.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit below Carlos, but I still really love the film, and I'm glad I gave it another chance. And I urge everyone to see this movie. I mean, here's the thing, is on paper, you could say it's just a Rick and, like, looking at it from a cynical perspective, you could be like, this just sounds like an episode of Rick and Morty. But I kid you not, just like go along with like the style of the movie, and I'm sure the movie will find its way to win you over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a very strong 8 out of 10.
Dank.
It's awesome. I will say, just a really quick shout out to James at my local AMC. You are awesome, because he's a fan of the channel and he told other workers about the channel. And today I basically got recognized for the first time ever, which was kind of surreal. So huge shout out to you and spreading the love. And I really appreciate that, dog. But that's all we got to say about Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you really enjoyed what we had to say about the film, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content. Peace.